A very warm welcome to StudyIQ, my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are doing good. Today is 27th November 2020 and it is Friday. On our table we have 5 important topics. Federal spirit, this one is from Times of India, very interesting topic. Second one is about storm warnings. This one is about Nivar. Then we have one article about India and USA trade ties. What's going to be the future under Biden administration? Then we have one on 2611 and last one is about COVID protocol. If you are preparing for UPSC, then we have a dedicated smart course that is designed by some of the best faculties of our country. It will cover your pre as well as mains examination. EMI offer available till 30th November. And to find out more about our smart course, to find out more about this EMI offer, all you have to do is download StudyIQ Education's mobile app. You can download the PDF of today's lecture, which I have already shared on my Telegram channel. You can follow me on Facebook. Please make sure that you hit the like button and share this lecture with other students, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Now, dear friends, federal spirit is about, in a federal structure, federal political system. Let me throw some basic light on what is federalism all about. So in a federal setup, you have one central government, like we have in our country, and then you have state governments, isn't it? Various different states, they have various different governments. In Canada, you have provinces. That's what they call province and state, right? Both mean the same thing. So federal structure, federal political system is a system in which you have central government and you have state governments. Now, in this article, union government is not happy with some states. Some states are not cooperating when it comes to central schemes. And one thing that we have to understand is that the reason why they are not cooperating, one of the biggest reason is political differences. Dirty politics, right? At central level, you have BJP. At state level, when it comes to Maharashtra, you have Shiv Sena. When it comes to West Bengal, you have Trinamool Congress. In different states, you have different governments. So, of course, it's very natural that we will see some sort of friction between center and state. But that should not hamper the development and growth of our people and our country. This is not acceptable at all. When center versus state, their political differences is hampering projects like bullet train project. Maharashtra government is very slow in implementing this first bullet train project of our country, which is going to join Mumbai of Maharashtra with a specific city of another state. Now, this is a question for you. Can you give me the name of that city? Stick your answer in the comment section. Now, see, this is our first bullet train project and we are not able to sort out all the problems. And the problems that we are finding, some of them are like land acquisition and things. Of course, yes, because this bullet train is going to run between back and forth two important cities of two different states. So it's quite natural that you have different rules in your state and the second state, they have bit different rules. But land acquisition and some things, they are going to create problems. But the best thing should be we have 3 states here. We have 3 parties here, right? So one is center when it comes to this bullet train project. One is Maharashtra, and I'm not giving the name because I have asked you a question. And then you have one particular state. So they need to sort out their problems. These two need to sort out their problems. These two need to sort out their problems. And all 3 need to keep bullet train at the very center and they need to work and sort it out as quickly as possible. But that is not happening. Prime Minister Swanidhi microfinance scheme for street vendors affected by this COVID-19 lockdown. Now, if Maharashtra government is not cooperating in this thing, then who is going to face the loss? Who is going to suffer? It is this street vendors. Differences of opinion have always persisted between center's development vision, which is always a big picture thing. It is generally holistic when it comes to central government's development vision. And when it comes to state government's development vision, it is more focused, it is more local, it is more customized, which is okay, which is very natural, state is also right, center is also right, but they need to work in sync, or else it's going to be a big loss for our country. Now, on the other side, we want to compete with China. Do you know that China has a very good bullet train network across its length and breadth? And here we are struggling with our first project. In fact, our first project should be like a lighthouse. It should be a guiding light for other bullet train projects that, of course, we are going to see in future. But if the first project is seeing this many hurdles, then I don't know when we will have our second project. Some states are not happy with GST compensation. Some states are not happy with, the money that they are getting from the central government. And I'm not saying that states are wrong, right? Some of them, some of their demands are right as well. Like, for example, central government is keeping all the cess and surcharge with itself, and it's not sharing with it. But on top, we have also seen that central government has added cesses and surcharges on various different things. So it is making money, it is collecting money from this cesses and surcharges. But when it comes to giving adequate amount of compensation, then it is taking all its time. Finally, you are agreeing with states, but the damage is already done now. So it's not just Maharashtra government, it's not just West Bengal government. There are a few things that central government should also do. The most important thing is cordial central-state relationship is important for economy as well as the betterment of our people. Simple as that. That's the bottom line. Next topic is storm warnings. Cyclone Nivar. Now, it was a very big cyclone, of course, and I'm sure you got all the updates. One of my colleague, Anirudh sir, made a video on this topic, and it landed on this Puducherry on 26th November. But the good news is that it was less destructive than anticipated. When it comes to destruction, for example, property and agriculture, because of heavy rainfall, because of fierce winds, of course, it has destroyed and damaged a huge amount of our crop and other things. But when it comes to people, when it comes to human lives, it has been, nothing, I would say, compared to, judging by the size of the cyclone Nivar. If you see that we have lost just 3 lives, then this is a big achievement. A few decades ago, if you see this Odisha's cyclone, one of the worst cyclone ever that India has faced, took lives of, I think, 10,000 plus people. It destroyed crores worth of property because we were not, it was out of the blue for us. At that point of time, we were not having this early warning signals and alerts and other systems. But hats off to IMD. IMD has been getting better at forecasting slow-moving, linear tropical cyclones in the Bay of Bengal, and multiple satellites now provide cyclone data. Technology is very, very important. Many times what happens is when we launch some satellite or when we achieve some milestone in terms of space, there are people who say, they say that there are so many people who are hungry in our country, and there are so many people who cannot, they don't have house and they don't have this and that, and now we are launching missions on moon and we are launching missions on Mars, and this is not right, you should not waste money. This is not waste of money. If you don't allow scientists to achieve their peak, if you don't allow them a platform to perform, then they are going to leave our country and they will go somewhere else. Right? Point number 1. Point number 2 is these satellites are helping us. Right now we are using satellite for land purpose. We are using for agriculture. We are using for this sort of alerts and warnings, and it is helping us with our navigation and so many things, right, with our mobile technology and computers and whatnot. So these are the benefits. So those people with narrow vision, when they say that we are launching satellites and wasting money, it's not a waste of money. It is helping us to save a huge amount of lives when it comes to this sort of natural disasters. Anyway, The government deployed 2 dozen NDRF teams and disaster management equipment along the coast to reassured civic agencies. And now this Nivar is over. It is an opportunity for the state government, for the central government, and for the other states as well to learn from this full assessment. We need to do a proper, thorough assessment to understand the impact of extreme monsoon weather. And not just that, we need to also document losses, and we need to also, analyze and collect data about encroachment. Few days ago, I think few weeks ago, we talked about this topic in detail. Remember this image? We talked about wetlands, importance of wetlands. So I'm just putting this picture here just to remind you guys about the importance of wetlands. And we need to analyze whether we are following, whether we are allowing our wetlands to flourish, or are we encroaching our wetlands. If we are, then we need to stop it. One more thing that we need to understand is that climate change and its impact is more visible now. When it comes to drought, in some places they are getting very severe. When it comes to heavy rainfall, in some places it is getting we are receiving heavy rainfall in some parts. Same thing goes with wildfires. Same thing goes with wildfires and this sort of storms and other things. So what I believe we need to do is we need to create strategies keeping in mind the changing nature of this sort of disasters. Right? Point number one. Point number two is we need to educate people who are vulnerable to various different natural disasters, like this eastern coast of I'm talking about this part here. So this is West Coast, this is Bay of Bengal, right? So this is Tamil Nadu, Puducherry, and Andhra Pradesh, and Odisha, etc., West Bengal. So we need to educate and train people, and I'm glad to say that in some states, like in Andhra Pradesh, you have coastal villages. They have they are trained in Odisha as well. Coastal villages, people living there, they are trained by local authorities and NDRF, etc. When it comes to disaster management, they know what to do when you have this sort of warnings. Who is the main person in your village who is trained, and you need to follow that person. If he says you need to stay in the house, then you need to stay in the house. Close your window and collect some food, water, etc., and stay in the house. Don't come out and do that thing. If your local person who is trained and everyone knows who is that guy or that lady, then if he or she is saying that we need to evacuate our village, then need to do it as quickly as possible. So this is helping us a lot. When people are educated, when people are aware, and when they are trained, when you create mock drills every month, or maybe after every few months, if you create a sort of mock drill just to check that everyone is on board, everyone is aware about what we need to do when we face some sort of disaster. Same thing can be done with earthquakes, areas that are prone to earthquakes. You can do the same thing with drought, same thing with floods, etc. So this is something that we need to do, keeping in mind this changing nature of climate change and its impact on our lives. Okay, so that's basically everything in this article. Moving on to next one. This one is about India and USA. Now, dear friends, I have said this thing many times, so I'm not repeating. I'm just going to be very brief here. You know how Trump used to operate when it comes to trade ties. His focus was more on trade deficit rather than overall trade and investment. So he created a huge amount of troubles. He started implementing heavy tariff on India's steel and aluminium. Then India was kicked out of this GSP. I will talk about GSP, what GSP is all about. And when it comes to international trade body, that is World Trade Organization, Trump administration, to be honest, played a very negative role in weakening World Trade Organization. I'll tell you how. See, World Trade Organization in layman's language is an organization that looks after, that creates international or it creates rules for international or global trade, right? So the name is World Trade Organization, simple as that. Now, of course, it's very natural that you are going to have some sort of problems, isn't it? When you're doing trade or business, you are going to face some sort of issues, and the main agenda is not to kill someone or to destroy someone. The main thing when it comes to trade is to sort out problems and move on. That's how it works. So WTO, they have their own court. Now I'm using the word court here. The right word is appellate tribunal. So, but just, to understand the concept, I will say you have a court in WTO. So if you have a problem with, let's say, US and India, if they have trade related issue, then they can negotiate with each other. They can have second negotiation with each other, and then they can file. If negotiations are not helping, then they can finally approach the court and sort out things. So the court will decide who is right and who is wrong. Okay? But just imagine if your court is not having any judges. Can you believe it? If a court, you knock the doors of a court to sort out problems, but then you find that there is no judge available. So that means the court is not working. That means WTO is weak. No one is going to, if you visit a police station, if you find there is no one there, and of course in your area you will find that these hooligans, they will guide everything. They will take control because there is no one to protect you from hooligans. In the same way, if you break rules and regulations, there is no WTO court that will stop you. So Trump administration, what they did, they never allowed judges appointment, and this made WTO a weak institution. Now Biden administration is going to take over in January 2021, hopefully, and things are going to be different. Things are going to be bit different or big difference. We are not sure. It looks like it's not going to be that big difference. It's not going to be a radical departure altogether. Step by step, yes, we are going to see some changes, some positive changes. But when it comes to India and USA, see, both nations were negotiating under Trump era to have a limited trade deal. This is first step. Then second step was preferential trade deal. And then you will go with the final aim is free trade agreement. So you start with limited trade deal. Then step number 2 is a preferential trade agreement. And the third one is free trade agreement. But we are still not, we have not reached LTD, that is limited trade deal. We have not signed it. And it looks like it's going to take a bit of time because the first priority of Biden administration is going to be COVID-19. To control COVID-19, it is said that by January 2021, USA will have 2 crore cases. Second will be sorting out free trade agreement with UK, that is United Kingdom, USA, UK free trade agreement. Then sorting out problems regarding WTO, Airbus Boeing issue between European Union and USA. So these are going to be top priorities when it comes to trade. And then it will work for, it will have to sort out something with RCEP as well. Create some alternative of RCEP, that is Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, or else China will become more and more stronger. And then later on, we will find there are other countries, and with that country, we'll find ourselves with on USA's priority. So India is not the first priority. There are other priorities, of course. And then we will see India-USA trade talks taking place. The existing trade policy forum met only once over the last 4 years. Whether the US and India can converge more over time or will drift apart, we have to wait and watch. But one thing that I can say is that both nations have to keep can-do attitude. It's not going to be easy for both nations. USA wants to sell so many things to our country. We want to sell so many things to USA. They will try to stop us, we'll try to stop them. So this is very natural, right, that you find when it comes to two parties having or trying to generate transactions and trade relationship, buyers and suppliers, right? We both are buyers, we both are suppliers to each other. So both will try to push the envelope as much as we can. So it's not going to be easy, but if we keep can-do attitude, then yes, we can sort out problems and achieve something out of this relationship. And there is a huge amount of potential between both these nations, of course. Right, moving on to next item, that is 2611. Yesterday marked the 12th anniversary of 26/11, isn't it? And dear friends, it's very sad. Of course, 26/11 is very, very sad incident, and we have learned so many things from 26/11 as well. But 12 years ago, this incident, this terror attack, changed so many things. It changed us as Indians forever, particularly people of Mumbai, and of course overall India as well. Our perspective towards terrorism changed. The 26/11 attacks brought home to both the Indian state and citizens that it could not be business as usual anymore. We will not tolerate this sort of behavior at all. This is the biggest change in our attitude. Besides conventional wars, Pakistan had engaged in asymmetric warfare with our country. In encouraging violence in Punjab in 1980s. From 1989 till now, Pakistan is encouraging violence in Jammu and Kashmir. We have faced earlier terror attacks in Mumbai, right? This Mumbai blast and, Dawood Ibrahim and other criminals associated with it. In other parts of our country, we saw Ahmedabad, Hyderabad, and there are other places. And even our parliament was attacked back in 2001. But India did everything that we could. After 26/11 as well, Manmohan Singh ji tried to sort out problems with Pakistan. He said that we need to keep terrorism, get rid of terrorism and shake hands with each other. But then Pakistan never changed. Prime Minister Modi visited Lahore. All of a sudden he made this, all of a sudden visit to Lahore. But we tried our level best, but then we got Uri and Pulwama. And that's it. That means after that, after Uri and Pulwama, we had enough. So we have said this thing clearly that terrorism and talks cannot go together. If you want to have a discussion with us, if you want us to be on table with you, then you need to control terrorism. You need to get rid of terrorism. And if you want to continue with terrorism, then we will never talk with you. Simple as that. And I think we have given Pakistan enough chance. In the past, we have given them so many chances. Like they can, but now they are not ready to change themselves. Then there's nothing, the ball is in their court. One more change. Earlier on, what used to happen is that our RAW and IB used to collect some information and give this information to agencies who can take action on this information. But what happened, that early on what used to happen is RAW used to give information but no action was taken, and then terror attack used to take place, and then everyone used to blame each other. But that thing has changed now. Now our this intelligence collecting agencies and action taking agencies, they are working in sync, and let's hope that that's how they work. Let's hope that they will, they keep on improving, because we cannot, security is one of the basic thing. APJ Kalam has said, Kalam sir, if you go through Kalam sir's material like his books, then you will find that he has said that a country can have huge amount of resources and, human capital, and you can have your fuel and everything, right? Economical, political, you have all the things that one nation can desire for. But if your nation is not secure internally and externally, then these things will be of no use at all. Like Afghanistan is a very beautiful country. It looks like it's a mountain. It is a mountainous place, but it has a huge amount of potential of traditional tourism and other sort of things. Same thing goes with Kashmir. Kashmir is a very beautiful place, but because of security issues, right, people don't prefer Kashmir. They prefer to visit Switzerland compared to Kashmir. I'm not just talking about Indian people. I'm talking about other people around the world. So security is basic. Without security, you cannot have development and growth. Moving on to next item. This is the last one. It's very easy to understand topic. But the thing is, dear friends, see, we take easy things for granted. I'll give you one example. There are so many students, they do ask me like they want to improve their English language, right? Particularly speaking. So they ask me what is the mantra, what is the secret formula behind speaking English and things like that. I'm sure you have heard this thing many times. Many people would be asking you as well. If you are fluent in speaking, then they ask you like how do you do it and what is the secret? The secret is practice. That's it, right? English is not my mother tongue. My mother tongue is Gujarati. But then as well, I can speak in Hindi and English. It's all about practice. And it's a very simple thing, but we don't like simple things, do we? We like things that are complex. We like, these complex things, they satisfy our ego. That I speak English in the morning and I'm listening to BBC News and I have a conversation with this guy and I have joined this class and this. But you know that if you don't practice, you are not going to get good with it. Simple as that. Same thing when it comes to COVID-19. Lockdown looks, that yes, we are doing something. Now, the first lockdown, I think this was something new. We were not in a situation we were not having that much resources, medical resources. So lockdown gave us this time that we can create our hospital facilities and things. We can, if people will stay inside their house, then of course the chances are that this COVID-19 will not spread. But what happened? As soon as unlocking started, we saw a huge amount of cases. And then we got so used to with it that there are so many people, they don't care about COVID. They are not wearing masks and they are just wearing masks for the sake of wearing a mask, so that they don't have to pay a fine. But as soon as they cross, this traffic signal point where you have cameras and things, they will take out their mask and they will think, thank God. They believe that wearing a mask is a burden. Rather than wearing a ventilator, I would rather wear a mask, Then central government came out with the surveillance, containment and caution for December month. Now, night curfew and weekend lockdown, I don't understand its meaning at all. Please, if someone can explain me how restrictions or curfew after 9 p.m. will help us control COVID-19. I don't. This is, this decision taken by Punjab government, Gujarat, Rajasthan, Himachal, Madhya Pradesh, right? All those governments who are implementing this 9 p.m. after 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew, night curfew. Really, I don't understand the logic. You are destroying businesses, right? Because there are so many restaurants, they cannot operate. There are so many street vendors. These days, in winter time, they sell corn. They're selling this hot drinks, right? Then there are so many cafes and so many places, right? Street vendors and so many businesses, restaurant business. And why you're doing this thing? The whole day people can spit on the road. They can cough and sneeze, right, without wearing a mask. They can do whatever they like. And after 9 p.m. you are asking them to go inside their house and this will stop coronavirus. Is there any logic behind this thing? Not at all. There is only one way out, and that is following COVID protocol, wearing a mask, practicing social distancing, no spitting, right? Practicing hygiene standards. This is the only thing that will protect us, right? We can do everything that is possible. And when I say we, I'm talking about individuals. Rather than creating these curfews, government should educate people. But unfortunately, we like complex things, isn't it? And that's everything in today's discussion, dear friends. Thank you very much for watching this video. God bless you all. Jai Hind.